Hi everyone, my name's Kalthoff and welcome to a Stamping to Share video. Do you recognize this card? It's been one of my most popular requests since the catalog came out and my club members got to do it last week. I was inspired, and they as well were inspired by the picture on page 176 in our newest 2013-14 catalog. And everybody just loved this little card, and I did too, so I wanted to go ahead and show you how we decided to create it, our little spin on it. You can see I used a simply pressed clay piece for the flower, and then I also have a little bit different sentiment and one of our candy dots. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did this. Now there's actually two ways to punch out this, this rectangular shape, or you can cut it out. And so one of the ways that you can cut it out is with our Stampin' Up! Stampin' Trimmer. And what I did when I decided to do it that way is I just went ahead and I created a template for myself. It's 1 inch by 4 inches. And I just laid it down on a prepared card, and I went ahead and I just kind of traced around it, and then I inserted it into my cutter piece and cut all around the tracing lines. And then all I have to do is slip it out. You can see it's pretty much ready to slip out. There's one little place that I would have to trim up right here, but then it's just ready to go and you're ready to decorate as you wish. However, that is kind of time consuming, as I soon discovered. So there's another way that actually I prefer. It's very quick. What you're going to need is a 1 inch square punch, and you just have your card front right here. And this is actually stamped with the new background stamp called Dictionary, which is really cute. It was on my first order, so you know that I like it. But what I do is I just insert my 1 inch square punch as far as it'll go into the card, and I just have a little bit of room showing here at the top. And then I just press, and then I go down, and again, keeping it flush with the bottom of the punch, I make another punch, and I just keep working my way down the card doing that. And that's our last punch out, and you can see that we've gotten our rectangular piece, and it's actually very quick. So that's what my club members and I decided to do when we were recreating this card. But either way works well. If you don't have a 1 inch square punch, the Stampin' Trimmer does a great job. So then to go ahead and decorate the inside, you will need a piece of white paper, and I've just cut that down to fit on the inside panel here. And what I do is I just lay it loosely here. I close the front of the card, and then I figure about where I want my flower to show, which I think I want the middle of my flower to be right here. So I just make a dot so that I know where the middle of that flower is going to be. Then, and I'll show you the flower situation. This is the flower as it looks before it's colored with our simply pressed clay. And then I've gone ahead and colored it with markers. Now it is kind of difficult to get the bottom of the clay piece to stick. Multi-purpose liquid glue is wonderful. That will stick to anything. However, sometimes, especially like if I'm laying it over the top of a ribbon, as I will be in this case, I would find that I have to hold it quite a while because it's got to capture the ribbon and the paper underneath the ribbon. So my solution to that is to just punch out a circle punch to fit the back of your flower, and then you put multi-purpose liquid glue on the back of that circle punch, stick it onto your clay flower, and then you can go ahead and use glue dots on that circle punch to stick it onto your card. So what we're going to do is I went ahead and I have a 1/8 inch piece of old olive taffeta ribbon, and I have our silicone mat, which is great for adhesive. It's great for this technique of just putting some snail down onto my piece, and then all of the adhesive just stays on the ribbon. It doesn't go on my scrap paper. So now I just go ahead and I move this, and I'm just going to line this up as best I can. I'm going to put the top of it on that dot, and then we're just going to put it loosely because I want to make sure, before I stick it in my card, that my stem is not crooked. Now it looks a little crooked to me, so I'm going to have to go a little bit to the left. So since I've just put it on loosely, I can just lift it up. And then again, I'm going to shut the door here and see where we're at. Well, now it looks like I need to go a little to the right. There we go. And I'm sure, yes, that works. So now all I do is I'm going to burnish this down because that's where I want it. I'm going to take my ribbon scissors and just trim this even with the bottom of my card. And then I'm going to take a little bit of snail and I'm just going to insert that inside my card like so. There we go. And now it's time to put on our flower. So I showed you how I prepared it. So now I just can put it right here, and those glue dots are doing the trick. They stick on very well. And then I also have a little leaf here that I put on so that we can have a little leaf, and that's just a tie over glue dotted. And then the next thing to do is to stamp something here. So from one of our new sets, it's something about thank you. Of course, I can't remember now the name of it. I think it's called Lots of Thanks, but it's one of our new Stampin' Up sets. And I've gone ahead and I have a Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. Just as a review for those of you that don't know, when you use a Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, you, let me put this down so you can see what I'm doing. You first need to stamp your plastic panel. So I went ahead and I did that. So I line up the plastic panel to the inside of the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, and I just stamp my stamp on it. So that's already been prepared. So now when I'm actually stamping it onto my card, I know that wherever this plastic panel goes, that's where my stamped image is going to be. So now I just go ahead and I put my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig down, I get my my plastic panel where I want it to be with my image, then I remove the image, and then I just take my ink, which is Early Espresso in this case, and I do have this marked because it's easy to stamp upside down. But now we go ahead and we just stamp it, and it looks perfect. And if I want it a little darker without moving my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, I can just go ahead, re-ink it, and bring it down again, and I've stamped perfectly over the top of it. So that is the card, and then I think just to add a little bit of fun to this card, I'm going to add a candy dot. Stampin' Up! Has these wonderful candy dots that are new this year in the catalog. You can use them with a brad or by themselves. I'm going to use it by itself. So I'm just going to take off one of these little candy dots with my paper piercing tool. I'm just going to set that right here. And I think that pulls the whole card together. Hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. I appreciate you so much. Bye-bye.